So my name is Ijeoma Eboh. I am from Nigeria. I'm from Abia State in Nigeria, and I am a Christian, a feminist, a daughter, natural hair blogger, a PhD student, a public health researcher, mentor, a teacher, and I'm an AfriGen. I was born in Nigeria. I was born in Port Harcourt, and then I came to the US when I was around 18 months, 2 years old. I grew up in the suburbs of New Jersey, so close enough to New York City that was kind of like always my ideal place to live, but definitely in the suburbs. My parents really instilled in us various aspects of Nigerian culture. We would go to Nigerian parties and functions. My mom would thread my hair, and I would go to school with worms in my hair. I think my parents worked really hard to give us a very secure upbringing in the States as best as they could. So my parents immigrated to America in the early 90s. My mom came first. She actually had just finished up nursing school. As she tells it, there's a nursing shortage in the States. So she came here because there was job opportunity here. After about 2 years, she brought my older brother and I, as well as my dad, over here. And I think that my parents just thought that there were more opportunities in the US for us. I was actually talking to my dad recently, and he said that when he first came, he didn't want to stay. He thought that US was too hectic, it was just too hard to make a life here and make a living here. He actually wanted to go back, but my mom wasn't having that. So they stayed and they, toughed it out and thugged it out. But at the end of the day, they wanted a better life for their kids, and that's what they have provided for us for sure. They've been super supportive of whatever it was that me or my brothers wanted to do, as long as it made us happy, we were fulfilled in using the gifts that God gave us, and we were financially stable. When I went natural in college, there weren't many people at my institution who were also natural, so I turned to YouTube. This is like in 2009, 2010. I turned to YouTube as a place where I could learn a lot about my hair, but also kind of like contribute to the narrative, the growing narrative about natural hair. I remember when I cut my hair, my mom asked me if I joined the Black Panthers. She was just really convinced that I had gone completely Black Power, on her, and she was really concerned. I realized that, there was a huge misconception about natural hair. It's the hair that grows out of our heads. So I was really convinced. I made it my purpose and my mission and my tagline has been to change perceptions of kinky textured hair around the world. So I wanted to prove first to my mom, to my family, and to my friends, and then everyone else around that kinky textured hair, my hair, is normal and is not political, it is not threatening. It really is just how my hair grows. And the classy aspect is that it is beautiful and it is professional, it is elegant, and it's classy. So that's why I started Classy Kinks. I was really concerned when I first heard about the school policies in South Africa that were essentially anti-natural hair. Unfortunately, it's not the first time that such kind of school policies have come up in the news. I think it was the first time that it was a case in Africa that was so public, but even in America, there have been cases where, especially in charter schools or private schools, where the dress code will prohibit pigtails or cornrows or other hairstyles that are so crucial or standard in Black children's existence. I felt a lot of pride when I saw that the girls in South Africa were protesting very passionately and very honestly about their right to wear their hair the way that it grows out of their heads. It's unfortunate that in 2016 we are still protesting for the right to do what comes naturally. I mean, I'm very pleased with the outcome, and I am proud of the fact that they were able to at least make some progress and in some sense overturn the policies that attempted to restrict their right to wear their hair as it grows out of their heads. I think that the African community, both in America and on the continent, I think they are slowly coming to accept natural hair more. Definitely when I first went natural, my grandma said I looked like a crazy woman. I will never ever forget that. A lot of aunts were like, you're never gonna get married, nobody's gonna want you with your hair looking like Onyara, crazy person. But I think that as more people do it and more people do it with confidence, I think that's the difference. And when you do have that air of confidence and you know that your hair looks the way that it's supposed to, I think other people tend to be more welcoming. So I do think in the African community, people are embracing natural hair a lot more, at least in America, on the continent in major cities. So when I go to Nigeria, I will see more people in Lagos that have natural hair, but in Umuahia, people are not really wearing natural hair. But slowly but surely, I think that the message is spreading. It's kind of crazy that it needs to be a message as opposed to just a way of life. But it's definitely increasing in popularity. I think as more people do it, and as it becomes less stigmatized by ourselves and less policed within our own communities, it'll become even more widespread. So when I'm not talking about hair or anything Classic Kinks related, I am typically doing research on racial health disparities. I am in a PhD program right now, and something that I came across in college, I became really fascinated by the rise of racial health disparities, especially in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s in Black urban Americans. If you think about obesity, asthma, diabetes, hypertension, these are all diseases that predominantly affect poor Black communities. And I was curious as to why that was the case. So my research looks at is the rise of asthma in Black urban America. And it traces the movement of African Americans from the rural South to the urban North, and along the way, different racial, economic, and social policies that have, in my opinion, created an epidemic of asthma in Black urban America. Sometimes people will ask me, well, why aren't you focusing on an issue that affects, the continent or affects everyone? And I think for me, part of growing up in America, some people will see you and immediately know that you're Nigerian, but for the most part, people will see you and I just identify you as Black or African American. So I've always identified with the African American experience, the Black American experience. I do think that there's a special in-group privilege. I don't know if I'm the best person to be doing this kind of research, but I definitely think I'm better off doing it than someone who has kind of no idea about the history or lived reality of what it means to be Black in America, whether that is, being followed around in a shop or not being able to get an apartment on Airbnb. And so I do think that there is value in me pursuing this kind of research as opposed to just researching something that can affect, anyone. AfriGen to me means this generation of Africans around the world. We're so dispersed. It's kind of like, I don't know what the statistics are, but I feel like we're everywhere, really. And I think that we're finding our own way. We're creating our own narratives. We are, doing a wide variety of different things in different fields. And I do think that for most Africans, in their heart, they do want to improve and make the continent better. And so we're kind of just all figuring out a different way to do that. And it's exciting because once a collective can really get going, I think a lot of change can be made and a lot of improvement can be made for the continent.